I'm here as a founder of the Learning Rights Law Center and as the executive director. I'm here in the audience as the co-founder, Inez Cooper-Schmidt. Our sole mission is equity in education for all students, including students that are in the foster care, juvenile justice system, and children with disabilities. We're a community-based legal services organization, as in my testimony. And our programs are aimed at preventing students from crossing from foster care system into the juvenile justice system, as well as any students entering the system because of a school failure. I'm here also to tell you about myself, because when I talk about the children we serve, we're one and the same. I was raised by a single mother in downtown Hollywood, California. My middle school experience was filled with the street, the drugs, and friends, because they were much more interesting than school. By high school, education was the last thing on my mind, because I knew I was bright, but I just couldn't do the work. I didn't go to class, and I failed. No one ever asked why. So I quit high school and went into an alternative setting, at that time an adult school, to finish. I lost my 20s to addiction, homelessness because I ended up living on friends' couches, and depression. Thankfully, I hit a bottom and attended a community college where they diagnosed my learning disability. My learning disability includes a reading disorder, like dyslexia, a writing disorder, and ADD. After my diagnosis, I learned about the law and my rights to get accommodations. And I learned to use my intellect and began to access education. After a tremendous amount of hard work, I graduated from UCLA Law School in 1999 and have dedicated my entire life to helping others like myself and those less fortunate. My life is not different from many of the youth we work with. They face far more segregation and isolation than I ever did. If I were placed in one of today's alternative schools, I wouldn't be here today. Our alternative schools are warehouses. They're where society sends children that they just don't want to educate. Warehouse is actually too neutral, too generous a term for the criminal effect on the individual. Foster youth are a particular vulnerable population. One foster youth said, "They think I'm crazy. They think I have a mental health issue. All I have is a broken heart." The education and social welfare are too quick to label foster youth as disturbed and needing isolation. Foster youth living in group homes are systematically placed into alternative settings without regard to their right to attend a least restrictive public education. I met Mary. Mary was a youth with a learning disability who lived in a group home, who attended a group home school that was located at the same place she lived. She wanted to be a singer. She wanted to be in the choir at the public school, but she couldn't because they required her and all the other children that lived there to attend their school, the on-ground school. She was physically restrained over 20 times, once because of a hairbrush. She was thrown to the floor and restrained with a 4-point restraint when these adults put her on the floor and held her down. She should have never been there. When we got involved as advocates, we got her out, and she graduated. It's unacceptable. The cost to you, to us, was $30,000 for a private school paid by public funds. It's unacceptable. Mary is not an isolated case. It may sound like it, but it's not. Learning Rights works with hundreds of youth that are in overly restrictive placements. We can't forget about other at-risk youth, like Carrie. He's in my testimony. He had an IEP. He has special education needs. It actually required that he actually was able to walk away when he got into trouble. Instead, one time he tried to walk away, and a security guard grabbed him. He was tased several times, arrested, and sent to an alternative schools. There should be definitely more oversight in alternative settings, but our priority should be prevent these at all costs, because they shouldn't be there. We shouldn't use public money to warehouse students. And in this economy, we should definitely think about education and not incarceration. the cost for is so much different. It's $8,000 to educate, and in California, it's upwards of $70,000 when we look at detaining youth in the juvenile justice system. Thank you.